Begin by dedicating to Srila Prabhupada, who was very keen, as you know, to use technology. Technology. We are living in an age of technology, and the technology is increasing and advancing at every step. Not today, but in my other presentation, I'll try to touch upon some of the new thresholds and frontiers in technology, particularly AI, particularly artificial intelligence, and what that may mean for our work. But for now, I'm going to be focused on this one area of community building. Okay? So just a little bit of a understanding of what we mean by community. We're all familiar with what is known as a. Can you see this? It's not that large, so if you can't see well, then please come up closer. There's room here, so you can come up closer and just so you can see what's going on. But so you see here how when you interact with people in your circle, we call that networking, right? You're all familiar with the term networking. So networking is when you're interacting mostly one-on-one with other individuals in your circle of activity. Then you move to what we call audience. Audience means when you are broadcasting, you have some message, you have something to say, and like I'm sitting here and you're my audience, right? So that's a one-to-many type of scenario. And then we come to community. So in a community, the interaction is both ways. It's not just with the host of the community, but within the members of the community. There's a lot of interaction going on, and this characterizes a community. So online communities are characterized by these type of interactions. So again, some differences between audience and community. In an audience, people are consuming content. They're passively consuming, but when in a community, they're participating, contributing. They're not connected in an audience, but in a community, they're bonding with each other. And of course, I should preface that everyone here will get this PowerPoint presentation, so you will all get it. So you don't have to make sure that everything is. If you have a question, of course, you can do that. Bottom up, many-to-many communication, distributed responsibility. This is a particular element of a good online community. It's not just all in the hands of the hosts and the organizers. The people in the community, they also participate in taking responsibility. And of course, there's a shared purpose. Now, we have different kinds of communities. Communities are defined as a social unit, where its members share a common networks that unite. Communities include networks of values, interests, goals, and kinship. So they list these different types of 6 different types. A community of place is where you all live in a certain area. Communities of interest, identity-based communities, you all belong to a certain kind of certain nationality or some type of identity. Communities of need, where everyone who needs to buy a car, whatever, they may form a community. Communities of practice and communities of convenience. Now, we're going to be focusing on these 3, the communities of interest, identity-based communities, and communities of practice. When we speak of communities of interest, then we're speaking mostly about communities that are interested in Krishna consciousness. When we speak about identity-based communities, we're talking about communities of devotees, people who identify themselves as devotees. And communities of practice would be like us right here. We're a community of practice. We're all practicing a certain aspect of activity in ISKCON, some form of leadership. And so we are essentially acting as a community of practice here. Now, the benefits of bringing this online. Online communities, they provide the members, first of all, with a very safe space When you come into a physical community environment, then you're taking a little more risk. In a online community environment, you're out with the press of a button. You don't have to, you can leave at any time. And you can even hide yourself to some extent. You can adopt a different kind of persona. You can adopt a different kind of you can pretend to be a woman if you're a man. I mean, the people do this in certain kinds of communities in order to achieve generally not so good results. But anyway, but it is safe. It's a safe place to connect, and it's also, generally speaking, if a community is run well, then you're sheltered from situations which could be very disturbing. They're also very convenient because you don't have to go anywhere. You just have to log on, and you're there. And you could be there, because now such online communities, all they require are one of these, and you're there. So you can participate at any time. A good online community, both it nurtures because it's a flow of content that you're interested in and you want, but it's also empowering because you also, in a good online community, you can also contribute. You also have a sense of interaction. It's enlightening, especially here, I'm saying it's enlightening to the hosts, so the organizers, because through online communities, we can get to know our constituencies in ways that sometimes we don't get to know if they just show up at a temple or an engagement, because there's more interaction. And then again, they can grow exponentially. They're not restricted by physical boundaries. So we're going to spend most of our time looking at some case studies of online communities. And you can then see how people, devotees especially, I'm focused on devotees making online communities. The first one is in Russia, and this is a very successful online community. It's called the Japa Meditation School. It has been running now for 6 years, I think. They began before 2020. I think it was 2018, in fact, that they began. They began with retreats. I mean, many of you have attended Japa retreats around the world. So they were having some retreats, but they thought, well, so many people can come to a physical retreat. Let's bring this online. Let's distribute this. Let's create a virtual community around Japa. They developed an educational approach, how they felt the process of developing in Japa should take place. They assembled, and I'm not going to show the whole presentation. Those of you who, at the end, we're going to give you opportunities to relate with me, and I send you stuff because we can't cover everything here, which will include their report on what they do and so on. So they have started a process, and their process is like this. They have this, now this is a little hard to read. So they produce content, they produce webinars. These are pre-produced, they're not live. And then the people who have registered for it, and we'll get to who registers. Oh, well, let's start there. To be admitted to this community, this is not an open, public, everyone can get in. To get into the Japa school, it's like, there's an admissions process. You have to demonstrate that you have, been chanting for a little while. You're not. They recently started a cohort, we call it, a cohort for those who are just new to chanting. So that because they're not chanting 16 rounds, for example, but their main target are the people who have dedicated themselves to chanting 16 rounds, and they've gone through something, and they're certified by a Bhakti Vriksha leader or someone like that. So they get in, and so they get organized into groups. Before the pandemic, they were actually meeting locally. They would meet together. Since then, it's gone pretty much all online, the meetings. But the members, the students, they're organized in tiers. So there's a group of students who have a coordinator, a facilitator. The facilitator has a coordinator, and the coordinator has a curator. So there's one curator with so many coordinators, with so many facilitators, with so many students. And what do? So they spend basically about a month on each topic. So they, or 2 to 3 weeks to a month. So they listen to the webinar is the topic. So they're learning, so they're getting a topic. And then they, I'm sorry we don't have chairs for everyone. Can we get more chairs? Yeah. And then they listen, everyone has to listen. They can listen to and watch the webinar on their own, at their own pace. But then they get together. They have a weekly meeting on Zoom or Skype or Telegram. So they're very flexible in terms of the facilitator and the people they choose what kind of medium to use. There is some homework involved. They keep a diary of their japa. There's communications with the coordinator. And then during the year, they have some retreats. They have some examinations. So they have a full educational process. So you can see some here the relationship. You have curators, senior curators, coordinators, and students. So there's this hierarchy of facilitation. This is up to they had 1,014 in the first year. Well, at this particular year, the people were divided into first year, second year, and third year. So basically, they're a year's curriculum, and each year has a particular cohort. So since 2020, they've added a fourth and fifth year, and as I said, they added 2 preparatory groups, and are now more than 1,500 students, members of this virtual Japa school community. So this is a really successful online community. How do they get people into the community? They do have a presence on social media, and we'll get to that a little later. Well, just next slide, in fact. So they have Facebook. They have this VConnect is the primary, like Facebook of Russia, Telegram, Instagram, and so on. And they're building up their audience. But again, this is mostly through word of mouth. Mostly people are learning about this community through word of mouth and by their interaction. Okay, so this is an example of what I call a hybrid online community. It's got a bit of in terms of technology, because our topic is technology for online community. So the technologies that they're using is a mix. They use social media, they use Zoom and so on. They also have back-end technology. They have, and we'll get to at the end of this presentation, we're going to be talking about CRMs, which is a type of technology that is very valuable in building and developing online communities. But they don't have an online community platform, okay? And we're going to talk about what that means. So an online community platform, we're most familiar with these, okay? Perhaps most of you are not so familiar with Reddit, but it is a hugely, hugely popular social platform. We don't do that much on Reddit. We should be doing more on Reddit. Most of you, of course, are all on WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp, a WhatsApp group is a kind of online community. You can form a WhatsApp. It's kind of one of the simplest forms of an online community. It's on a shared platform. Facebook, of course, is Facebook groups, particularly. These are also online communities. And they're on a shared platform. Quora is not as much of a, but there are communities. There's in fact a devotee community on Quora. I think there's about 50, 60 devotees in this community, and they share amongst each other ideas for questions and answers and so on, and they coordinate. So this is a shared platform. Now, one, you actually heard a little bit about this at the this morning's presentation on when Vaisheshika was talking about follow-up. So in the Silicon Valley, they have created bhakti.community, a website, this is from their website, and this is a Facebook community, and in their Facebook community, they offer all these different types of offerings here. And I'm skipping through things quickly because we don't have so much time. And then if you join, and to join the community, you have to go first to bhakti.community and you click join and you offer some money. They, Vaisheshika is very much into the mood that there should be some reciprocation and so on. It can be as low as $1 a month, which was very appealing. I signed up. $1 a month, okay, I could. So, and I joined the community. And then you end up in a Facebook group. And in that Facebook group, you get to know of all the various things that they're offering. They have every week, they have 2 or 3 Zoom and other types of programs for the members. And of course, the Facebook platform allows the members to interact, and there's a good development of this community. There's 400 or 500 people now in the community, and it's a mix. This is a mix. They initially established the community particularly to offer a place for people that are receiving our books to come in and just get to know and to learn. So their initial idea has been mostly on outreach, but it's become a mixed community, both for the newcomers and for experienced devotees. Another community that has developed on a shared platform is Wisdom of the Sages. Wisdom of the Sages, and I think Kaustubha Prabhu, who is one of the co-hosts of Wisdom of the Sages, is here for the ILS. There'll be a seminar. We'll be talking more about that. But this is basically a daily podcast. But after some time, when it started to get quite popular, they started creating a community. So, okay, we have all these listeners, and that's very often the stages. You start with content. You're pushing out some content, and we'll get to another example of that in a minute, where you started with some content, and people are starting to follow, and people are starting to consume, and now you want to bring them into a community where you can interact with them, and they can make some progress. So what they did, there's a system called Patreon. So Patreon is a way that people who like your content can support it. By the way, one other big part of online communities is they can be financially quite successful. So they created this Patreon community, and you can see here it starts from $1 a month, $10. It goes all the way up to, I think, $200-something. So now they're offered this opportunity. So first they started with Patreon. They just started, okay, we'll give you some special content, etc. Then they started organizing them into groups. So now the members of their Patreon community are now also offered the opportunity to participate in weekly sessions with a senior devotee. And of course, these are all online. They're all Zoom type of sessions. They've also created what's called a Discord community. Now, Discord is another social platform which has become quite popular. How many here have heard of Discord? Okay, just some of the young guys over here. You a member of a Discord server? Over here? Anyone? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So it's, it's more on the younger crowd, right? Lot of gamers and a lot of, it's really especially popular amongst gamers. They have so many gaming communities on Discord. So Discord, and you can see just by the look of Discord, it's all dark, and so right. So you can see kind of the mood. It's especially populated with gaming community, but they have a Discord community. There's 150 million people on, and that's MAUs. That's a term that you may not have heard before. MAU is monthly active users. Okay. So, in other words, like Facebook, for example, said, well, we have so many users, but how many are active? That's, they have 150 million active users. So, they're there. And on that platform, they have a number of different special, what are called channels or something, things that go on in that community. And it's closed. It's a closed. You can't enter into this Discord community except through the Patreon system, becoming a Patreon first. And so they've got this exclusivity. So those are shared platforms. And here, this is Radha Gopinath Mandir ISKCON Chopati. They've got them all. You can see here. They've got everything. It's too small for you to see, perhaps. But they've got all the various messaging platforms, the various WhatsApp communities, ISKCON Youth Services. They have kids programs, courses programs, and they have apps. Now, I don't know if you can see that. If you can't, it's too small. But it's called Mighty Networks. How many here have heard about Mighty Networks? Just a couple of you. Okay. So, Mighty Networks. I'm going to spend a lot of time on Mighty Networks because you'll see why. Mighty Networks, now we're moving from shared platforms to private platform. You can make a shared platform private, but you don't fully own it. It's not complete. Like Facebook, all right, is a shared platform. You make a private group, but you're restricted to some extent. Mighty Networks is a platform in which you can create your own Facebook, basically. You can create basically what you would create in Facebook. You can create it your own members, posts, groups, events, and so on. So Mighty Networks, it comes in, there's a web form, there's an app form on both Android and iOS. And ISKCON Chopati has created their own Mighty Network. So you can see here, this is, when you click on that, what you saw before, you get to this page. Anyone here a member of ISKCON Chopati's network? No, you are. Okay. So you have to request to join. You can't just get in. You have, and when you request to join, you fill out a form which includes all kinds of questions about who you are, et cetera, et cetera. You have to have referrals and so on. So in other words, it's a closed community. It's meant for a certain, like we talked about identity-based communities. This is an identity-based community. You have an identity. The identity is somewhat liberal, but it's still, you're a devotee and you're connected. Once you're in the community, then there's all kinds of things that you can see. There's daily posts. There's this is just a brief review. And as I said, we have so little time, and I'm going to run. I think we do this one more time, but anyhow. This is another Mighty Network in Germany. This is a similar situation where the devotee started off in YouTube. This is his YouTube channel, right? So he started to build an audience, and he said, let me bring them into a community. And he set it up from he set it up first free. It's about 3 years old. So he first offered membership for free. And he got maybe about 100 or so members. Then he said, let's make it a little more exclusive. So he set a payment, 18 euros a month or 192 a year. And he got about 100 or so members to pay. What do they get? They get all these different things, Bhakti Club, all these are basically all different channels in his community. So Mighty Networks gives you a lot of different advantages too. It gives you all these kind of analytics. You can see, okay, these are my members are being active. How many are being active on the platform? What are they watching? What are they looking at? There are people who have built their whole business around Mighty Networks. There are people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars in membership. They have 1,000 members giving $49 a month. $50,000 a month. There's one, Yoga with Adrian. She's got several thousand. Of course, they have to spend money too, because you have to produce content. You have to get that kind of membership. You have to feed a lot of content. So there's staff, etc. Many of you have heard of Jay Shetty. You all heard of Jay Shetty? Okay. He has an online community. He uses another platform, which we'll just get to. So you get all these kind of analytics, and I'm not going to get into that briefly. Get it deeply. Sattva Life is Mahatma Prabhu's online community. He took a little different approach. He's got free, and he's got you can join for free, but you can also take some courses that include some money involved. So he's got a kind of a hybrid approach. And again, he's got a mix of kind of content that's going in. This is one of the first Mighty Network communities that I came across is Rise with the Bhakti Center. It's under transition, and if I had an internet connection, I would show this video, but I don't even have the time anyway, so I'm not going to do it. But you can look at later on Rise with Dial Garanga. Okay. This is what Mighty Networks involves. You have to pay for it. It's $33 a month. So it's not a lot of money. You can pay more. You can do bigger things. You can they are willing to actually, for a certain price, you can make it your own platform. It'll be, it's not, no one will see Mighty Networks. It'll see ISKCON or whatever. They're not the only game in town. So this is a India brew called Build on Scenes, and they, I was exploring with them. They actually set up a little, place for me. They offer a lot of nice features, but they charge $600 a month. Okay, so there are quite a few competitors out there to Mighty Networks, but I've dug deep, and I have not found any like Mighty Networks that offers the same facility at such reasonable, low price. Okay, it's if you find out, let me know. Okay, but there is something less expensive if you have the manpower to do it yourself. You can home brew your. I shouldn't say home brew. That's a very that's we don't do brewing, right? What's a good homespun? Homespun. That's what I should say. Homespun. So you can spin it up yourself. All right. We're doing that in ISKCON Online with this platform. It's called Buddy Boss. Anyone here heard of Buddy Boss? You've heard of it. Okay. So Buddy Boss does what Mighty Networks does, but it does on WordPress. So WordPress, of course, is free, except, of course, you have to pay for a server. So you're going to have to always have a server. But the price is very low. As low as if you went down to 10, if you had 10 different sites, different, as low as $3 a month to have for their software. It does everything that Mighty Networks, not quite as pretty and nice as, and mainly biggest drawback with Buddy Boss is they don't have the nice app that Mighty Networks has. If you want to get a Buddy Boss based app, you have to pay them, and then it gets to $180 a month. Okay, so that kind of balances out a bit. But that's your own app. It's your own name, your own everything. It's custom designed for you. So in that sense, it's also quite a good deal. This is we'll be presenting a bit more about Chant Now. You can stop at our booth also. But this is an example of what it looks like on Chant Now. Okay, so we've covered the technologies. There's more that could be said about different technologies, and there's also no technology. There's no technology communities. There's one devotee in South India who I know who has begun just offering a daily Zoom class, japa class. He started with a few hundred people, and now it's in the thousands. And he doesn't advertise. And yes, he didn't want me to talk about it, so because he said people. Anyway, because he gets people from all over India. And but anyhow, yeah, he doesn't do any advertising, doesn't spend any money, doesn't have any platform, but he has a big online community, So it's not that there's no technology. There's some technology, but there's no community platform technology, etc. If you do decide to get into more technology and really get into online community, Mighty Networks, in addition to providing the platform, also provides a lot of good education in terms of a life of a community, how to develop community, various tools to make it grow. They talk about defining your big purpose for your community, your members' journey. They talk about how to grow the members, how to visualize members' growth, etc. So there's a lot to learn from Mighty Networks. And if you want to just quickly get into that, come to our ISKCONonline.com. That's our website. You'll see we curate articles from around the web on the topics of ISKCON, of technology, internet-based technology. We're basically trying to develop a community of practice. It was sort of kind of in limbo for the last few years because I was focused on developing Chant Now. But I'm attempting with this ILS to revive it. And so you're all invited to join our community. It's a Buddy Boss-based platform. And we hope to develop it into a community of practice and a learning community. One more thing that I wanted to touch on is CRMs, because CRMs can help you in various ways. CRM stands for Client or Customer Relationship Management. So it's a platform which is designed to help you in working the relationships with your constituents by various, it facilitates relationship building by tracking things. And so it tracks people's progress, it manages communications. You can bring more people, create relationships between mentors and members of the community. If you go out there looking for software for this, you'll find, you go out like 10 best CRMs or whatever, free, this one was the result of something. So I wanted to know the 10 best free CRMs, right? So I got this slide, and the ones that are crossed out there are not actually free. They're all free trials, right? You can get into it for free for 14 days or something like that. And some are very limited, like this Engage Bay. It's free, but only 250 people. Really simple, is only 2 users. HubSpot and Zoho are really true free CRMs. HubSpot is a really terrific CRM. We use it with Chant Now. The free version is actually free. It's unlimited people, unlimited users. But there are a few things that you don't get in the free version. Automation, particularly, you don't get. So if you want to get what they really excel at, you have to pay them $800 a month. And then you get the full thing. So it's kind of a teaser to get you into their full stuff. I haven't played around with Zoho very much. This is just a little screen of what HubSpot looks like. Another one which is actually truly free is Bittrex 24. Bittrex 24 is used by the Russian Japa school. They use that to track all their people. It's quite customizable. It has a lot of additional features. A little complicated, I find. One of the things why we use HubSpot is it integrates very, very well with WordPress. Another one, which is very, very extensive, is CiviCRM. CiviCRM is an open source platform, and it really excels in fundraising. So if you want to, connect your community building with your fundraising capacity, and so this really brings it all together. And it's used by the Bhaktivedanta Manor. It's used by Soho Street, ISKCON Soho, and we use it in ISKCON Online, and we use it in the GBC SPT, ISKCON Connection. I've been using it in a number of different places. As I said, it's a free open source product, but as free things go, you need people. So what you don't get with a free product is you don't get support. When you pay, you get support. So here you have to kind of know what you're doing, but there are devotees who kind of know. Another one that's worth looking at is Como, particularly because of the way it integrates with WhatsApp and so on. But it's not too cheap. It's about $15 per user per month. So I slammed this in, and I got through it all by rushing, and that's my contact information. If you want to write it down, you can always just send me an email so I can feed you with. I'd like everyone here who wants to get a copy of this presentation, who wants to get any of the other materials, either go to ISKCON Online and sign up there, or send me a text on WhatsApp or on my email, and I'll be happy to do that. So, Hare Krishna.